Real solutions to money, relationships, wellness, and more. Shine a light onto your day and into your life. Power Your Life with Dr. Joanne White.
Good evening. Welcome to Power Your Life. I'm Joanne White, your host. Known as the Geeter with the heater and the boss with the hot sauce, Jerry Blavat is a throwback to when DJs picked their own playlists and broke records and artists in a way that's unheard of today. Although radio has changed, Blavat hasn't. He still works 7 days a week on radio, television, and at local charity events and clubs. And Jerry has many stories to tell. Jerry, it's an honor to have you here today.
Well, pretty lady, it's an honor to be with you. I love Power Your Life.
Thank you.
Because that's what life's about, man.
Life is really about getting powered up and about whatever we do,
Absolutely.
Right? And you started getting powered up when you were 13 years old on the original American Bandstand.
Bob Horn's Bandstand. You know, it's funny because your audience out there remembers Bob Horn. Most other people don't remember that Bob Horn was the originator who started Bandstand. It was a copy of a radio show called the 950 Club.
Right, and then Dick Clark took over.
And took over in 56,
right,
yes.
And you were on the show with Dick Clark. And also, you started after that. I mean, you were a dancer on the show, but then you went and you had your own radio show at age something like 21 years of age, right?
Well, you know, it's interesting because I started as a dancer. And when Dick took over the show, I left the show, even though they offered me more money because I was the head of the dance committee. We didn't know Dick Clark. So I then went and became a record promoter. And I wind up meeting a young comedian by the name of Don Rickles, and I became his valet.
Right.
And then I had a group called Danny and the Juniors where I became the road manager.
But even more than that, that was the beginning of your career. But then you went on to meet, and you had so many people that were your friends and stars and associates, from Ray Charles to
Little Richard,
Domino. Right, all of these people. What was one of your most memorable experiences with Ray Charles? He was a friend of yours. You were the best man at his wedding, and you were there when he died.
That was Sammy Davis.
I mean, Sammy Davis Jr., excuse me.
You know, it's interesting because when I met Sammy, I was dancing. And he was one of the guests on Bandstand. And one of my duties on Bandstand was to make sure that the guests, as you know on TV, if the host says, this is where you gotta be your mark. So I'm jitterbugging, and this next little guy, I gotta say to him, you have to be over there. I get off the dance floor, and he says to me, hey man, where did you learn how to jitterbug like that? I said, well, everybody in South Philadelphia jitterbugs like that. He said to me in 1954, man, you're like a little white me.
So this is Sammy Davis Jr.
This was Sammy Davis Jr.
Okay.
And we became dear friends up until the end. When he married Altavis, he proposed to her in my home. Through Sammy and Rickles, I met Sinatra, and I hung out with all these guys.
What were his last words for you when he was dying?
Sammy said to me something through all of the years that we knew each other, and I was always there. He said, you know, you may not realize why I loved you like I loved you as a friend. I said, I don't know why, Sam. He said, when I saw you as a kid, I saw something in you that was me when I was a kid. Because Sammy started in show business when he was 6 years old.
Wow.
With Will Masterson and with his dad, you know. And I've been blessed. You see, the power of your life, as your show is called, is the ability to go with the dream and the passion.
Which is why you've created this book. You Only Rock Once, okay? And it's incredible.
Thank you.
And you have so much energy, boundless energy. You're working 7 days a week. You have a nightclub in Margate.
Right.
You've had radio shows, a television show, the discophonic scene. And how do you keep up this energy?
Well, I love what I do. And the secret of life is if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. The audience out there, to see them smile, to see them happy, to see them dance with me when I do the casinos, Valley Forge or the Golden Nugget or any place like that, that's the energy. I feed my energy off the people.
So they energize, you energize them, but they also energize you.
Comes back.
Right, it's such an exchange of joy and energy, and they're loving it. It's interesting because I'm not from this area, Jerry, and the minute I mentioned that you were going to be on the show, people just immediately went right back to the gate, I mean, all to exactly how we introduced you.
Well, you see, and I wrote the book, Joanne, because it's when America was young and you could follow your dream, and I did it unrestricted. I mean, I came from a broken family. I was raised by nuns, but radio and entertainment was always a part of my life.
Now, you were also very close, almost like family, to the boss.
You mean Angelo
Bruno, right?
Absolutely.
To the
I
mobster.
mean, my mother was from Italy, Abruzzese. Ange's wife was also Abruzzese. So they were paisans. And I grew up in the same neighborhood. And when you grew up in South Philly or in a neighborhood, you knew everybody. You never asked what their business was. If they were good neighbors, they were good neighbors. And he was a part of my life, all of my life. You see.
Most of your life.
Yes.
Did that get you into trouble?
Well, what happened when Angelo was killed?
Right.
And when I had split with my wife, I would be a part of that family with dinners and things. When he passed, Mrs. Bruno said to me, listen, you're a part of this family. Don't let this funeral be a mockery. Please keep the press out. Please keep all of that, which I did. And because of that, people wondered, why is he so close to that family? They were neighbors. We shared food together. That was what life was about back in the day.
Right. You know, aside from all the energy and all the incredible people that you met, and you are an icon in Philadelphia and in the Delaware Valley, what one memory stays with you about all your experiences that you want to share with our audience?
Well, the memory of the fact that when I was doing radio and TV and there was a lull spot in my life, I never lost the compassion. And I knew, even though music was changing, that I was still going to do what I was going to do and make people happy. And I never forgot that.
And you know, you still convey that to everybody. Jerry, thanks so much. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you, pretty lady.
Thanks. As we head to break, check out a clip with Jerry Blavat and Dick Clark from American Bandstand.
Jerry, are you in this hassle with the crazy one here? All right.
Jerry Blavat.
And what do you do, sir?
Geeter with the heater.
This man is probably the most prominent young people's disc jockey in the city of Philadelphia and Camden, New Jersey.
Welcome back to Power Your Life. I'm Joanne White, your host. Are you one of the millions of Americans that suffer from back or neck pain? How do you find relief? Many people seek a chiropractor to treat their back pain resulting from a variety of causes, including car accidents, sports injuries, and muscle strains. Other complaints may be pain in the neck, arms, legs, and headaches. And yet, chiropractic care does so much more than just treat injuries. To determine if chiropractic care is right for you, we'll look to Dr. Paul Merlino. Thanks for joining me, Dr. Merlino.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So, you're a chiropractor, and I've had chiropractic care for many, many years. I wouldn't be without it. I wouldn't be walking today if it wasn't for chiropractic care in my mind. Mm-hmm. How does chiropractic care help with stress?
Stress. Well, like many conditions that patients will come in and look for some kind of healing quality. Basically, we do the same thing as chiropractors. We try and help restore the body's sort of healing power. And it's kind of neat that, you know, your show is Power Your Life. What we do is help reestablish that through the spinal column. And I know we talked a little bit about the role of the spinal column, and that most people know that it's for you being upright. But most people don't realize that there's also the nervous system that is inside of that spinal column. So when the body gets stressed out, the nervous system doesn't function as well as it should, and the spinal column plays a big role in that.
You know, I do a lot. Sometimes when I have a cold, I actually go to, rather than go to my primary physician, I'll seek out chiropractic care. And some people will look at me and say, well, why are you doing that? But I always think, too, that chiropractic care is great for preventive health. How does that work with preventing illness and disease? Well,
basically, it's the same concept that I don't really treat any specific condition. I just help sort of rejuvenate the body's natural healing power.
I love that. That's great.
And that's something that most people don't realize, that the spine actually has a role in that. So it's, you know, whether somebody's coming in for specific pain or from an injury, or even things like allergies, or like you said, you know, a headache or something of that nature, the body has that ability to restore that power. Just needs a little help sometimes.
Now, you also have worked with babies and with pregnant women. How does it work with infants?
Well, the techniques are different, obviously, but the concept, again, is still the same, where we all have the same parts. They just may be a little smaller in some and maybe a little larger in others. With older adults, you know, the body's a little bit more fragile, so you need to be a little bit more gentle with them. But overall, the care is still the same.
So you wouldn't say to somebody, well, now that you're 60 years old, or your parents are in their 70s and 80s, that you wouldn't say to them that they shouldn't seek chiropractic care?
No, absolutely not. You know, a lot of people say, well, what age is good? And I say, as long as you're breathing, you have the ability to heal. So no, there really isn't one age or any age that is ideal. As long as your body is alive, we can rejuvenate some of that power.
And what happens with headaches? Why do people have headaches?
Well, a headache is basically like a smoke alarm that goes off in your head, okay? The body is sort of just saying to you, something's not right. Do something, fix something. And that's where the nervous system comes in again, where you have to make sure that everything is communicating properly. And again, the spine plays an integral role in restoring some of that.
Now, Dr. Merlino, I know some people are very, excuse me, very hesitant about seeking out chiropractic care. They feel that the adjustment's going to be too powerful, it's going to injure them, and so they're afraid.
Absolutely.
What would you say to those people to get them interested in the healing properties of chiropractic care?
Well, basically, the adjustment is the actual technique, and there are lots of different techniques. Chiropractic is over 120 years old, and in the beginning, there would have been techniques that they felt were more about force, okay, and about alignment. And even though alignment is important, today there are lots of different technologies that we use that will allow the same type of balance to the spine, but without force. So I don't have to use any force if I don't want to. I have a specific instrument that I use, tables, different things that will allow us to restore the balance in the body without all of the you know, force or snapping necks or cracking bones or anything like that.
Right,
we don't do that. Right. It's more about the specificity, about restoring the healing power versus how we're doing it.
So when somebody comes into your office, you don't see everybody as one right after another in terms of everybody is different to some extent. How do you identify what somebody needs?
Well, that's a secret.
Oh, okay.
Really
well, don't give away
your
secret.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm
just kidding. You know, it's each individual, even though we all have the same parts, our bodies all function on a different capacity. So I always tell patients I'm sort of like a detective. When you first come in, you have to figure out what their body needs and how it changes, and then work with them, you know, each time you see them to figure out what their body, how it's changing, what their lifestyle is like, that kind of thing. And that really is a lot of why they wind up in the places that they are. We're all sort of an accumulation of what we do every day. And that can lead them down a road where their body is challenged. And what we have to do is go back and figure out how to restore that.
So is sitting something that interferes with the spinal health, we'll say?
Absolutely. You need to sit back a little bit more. Everything, really. Our occupation, you know, for the female, as far as childbirth goes, we work on, you know, a lot of women pre and post pregnancy, because again, the body, it's a very amazing, you know, endeavor, but it's something that the body does go through a lot of stress and strain with. So it can be very simple too, very complicated.
Dr. Merlino, you're great, and I certainly love chiropractic care because I know, like I said earlier, it's really helped me. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Coming up on Power Your Life, Shape Up for Spring. A certified personal trainer is here to show us some great fat-blasting tricks. Stay with us. It's hard to believe that spring is right around the corner, considering the brutal winter that we're having this year. But before we know it, spring will be here, thank goodness. And now's the time to shape up and get ready for sunny days and for warmer temperatures. Certified nutrition manager and personal trainer Kim Jacobs has some great tips and tricks for us to drop the winter gain and to feel good about our bodies. Kim, I can't wait to hear your advice.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here. I can't wait to share it with you.
Oh, great. Well, many of us, I know me, for example, when it's cold out, I tend to eat more. Maybe it's just to keep the body temperature up. And so many of us are thinking, oh my goodness, it's March is almost here, and then there's spring and summer, and how do we get ready? What do we need to do mentally and emotionally to shift our eating habits?
Well, we have to change our mindset, and we have to start thinking not necessarily about dieting, but just about eating healthier. Before we know it, we're going to be out from underneath those heavy sweaters, and we're going to have to show off a little more skin than we've been forced to show in the last couple of months, especially with this lovely weather we've been having. So the mindset is really basically just to start making healthier choices with your food, and really sit down and analyze the types of things that we feed ourselves in the course of a day. How many times a day you have soda? How many times a day you have bread? How many times a day you have a cheat, like a piece of cake or a cookie or a cracker?
So you're not saying don't have that. What you're saying is to really take a look at the frequency of it and to make sure that you kind of have that under control by examining what you're eating and the effect that it's having on you.
Even if you eliminate one glass of soda a day, or a bagel instead of having a bagel at breakfast and a sandwich, half a bagel. Don't necessarily have the bread with your lunch if you're going to have bagel with your breakfast. Just make some different choices during the day that will eliminate some of those additional calories, and before you know it, you'll start to see that you can lose weight without even making substantial changes you don't have to be on a diet.
Now, there's this machine that does cellulite reduction.
There is.
Okay, and I need to know a little bit more about it, like how it works and who really is a good candidate for it.
The treatment's called ultrasonic cavitation. And
it's a mouthful.
it is. But the nice thing about it is that anyone who is relatively fit and eats healthy is a good candidate for the treatment. It works as an ultrasound machine. It feels like a massage. It's been recently FDA approved, and what it basically does is it decreases the amount of cellulite in your body.
Now, how often does somebody have to have a treatment?
You can have a treatment as frequently as 72 hours apart.
Wow.
But you will see results in one treatment.
So let's say I would go for that treatment for cellulite reduction. What happens afterwards? Do I feel strange? Am I able to move?
There are absolutely no limitations when you have the treatment done. You can participate in your life. You go to work, you can go to school, you can go out to dinner. There are no contraindications at all.
And who's a good candidate for this?
Men, women, anyone over the age of 18.
So it's got to be over 18.
Yes, we do brides, we do new mothers, we do mothers of the bride. We even have done some males. They come in and get any body part that has a cellulite, additional cellulite that needs to be removed can be treated. We can do abdomens, we can do hips, we can do arms, we can do across your back. Speaking of
arms, you have these bands, and I'm ready. Okay, so what do these do?
This is my secret weapon.
All right, we need a secret weapon today. And women, I hide my arms. Okay, a lot of women do, because women sometimes have some flabby extra flesh around their arms, and this can actually help.
This
right?
actually helps to reduce
All
it.
right,
there are a couple of exercises that I can show you to do. They're really simple. All you need to do is extend your arms out in front at shoulder height with your palms facing each other, and you're just going to open and close against the resistance.
Oh, I can feel it.
You don't have to push that far. You just push until you feel the resistance, fight you back a little bit, and then release it. And
now,
basically
you have to make sure you're breathing, right?
Sure, you got to keep breathing. And if you sit up nice and tall, all you're going to be working is your upper body, your shoulders, and your arms. You'll be able to feel it across your shoulders. And you basically do 2 sets of 15. And on the 15th one, you're going to hold it as far apart as you can for a 5 count.
Oh, I feel that.
That's good. And
So
then you're going to let it go.
Somebody could bring this band to their office.
Oh, this
and
travels
they can,
anywhere with you.
Okay, you can do it on a plane. You can
And then
throw
a second set is the same exact thing,
Oh, you
except you're going
turn?
to turn your palms facing outward.
Oh, I can.
And then you're going to push out.
That
exactly
hurts.
the same thing.
So it's
right?
working. When, okay.
Get a little bit of that tightness in your triceps.
Now, we
Feel
were
that?
talking about mindset, and I remember one time I went to the gym, and I was talking to the person who was on a machine right next to me, and we both said, we don't know how we got there, but we feel much better. So the idea is to really...
Just do something to get there.
Right.
And the important thing is, even if you've got something as simple as a rubber band, you can take this with you no matter where you go. You can, even if you put this over your head and do exactly the same, open and close. You feel that moving across your shoulders.
I also feel that in my chest,
That's
too,
perfect.
and my back.
And then you're going to reverse that grip again, face out. Same exact thing, pushing out.
It really works.
If
So
you do
how
those-
often do I need to do this to see results?
If you do these exercises 3 times a week, 2 times each set is 15 count. You do 2 sets for 15, and you do them 3 times a week, every day, with those 3 sets that I just showed you how to do, this way and overhead, with that same grip, facing each other and out. You'll be able to see results very soon. And before you know it, you'll be sporting a nice tank top, a pair of capris and flip-flops. That sunshine will feel really good.
Thank you so much, Kim. And you only need a band. Power Your Life will return in a moment. That's it for tonight's Power Your Life. On next week's show, Psychic to the Stars, Karen Page will share juicy stories about Hollywood's hottest celebrities. Hope to see you there. Remember, you have the power to power your dreams and power your life.